Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Trish. I'm so glad that you stopped by to watch my video. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. Thank you to all those who have liked my video. I really do appreciate. If you haven't subscribed, please, this is the time to do so. Please hit on subscribe and like this video to encourage me so I can, do more. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. So this is the part 2 of my migration story, and I'll just give a recap of the part 1. In the part 1, I talked about how my husband had decided to leave Nigeria to seek greener pastures in America. And yeah, it was something we agreed to, even though I reluctantly agreed to it. And the next step was for me to go join him. But the problem was I loved my job too much. So I didn't want to leave, at least not immediately. Wherever the head goes, the body follows. And that means me and my children, would have to follow. And I knew that, we would have to follow eventually, but I was just a little bit reluctant because, like I said in the part 1 of this video, I was not one of those people who were, excited about coming abroad. I felt very comfortable back home. I enjoyed, staying back home. But this time, my other half had left, so I would have to join him, So my daughters decided to, tell me that it was time to leave, even though it was a few months after their father had left. My second daughter became sick. She was diagnosed with bronchial issues. We were in the hospital every month. Every month that year, it was crazy. I couldn't focus on my job, the job that, was keeping me behind. Yeah, one day one of my bosses came to me, called me and said, "Girl, you gotta go, okay? You cannot be here alone by yourself, taking care of these children all by yourself. You have to go join your husband." It was a hard decision for me because I thought about visiting first before relocating eventually. But with what was going on, I had to relocate immediately. I got my girls, got our stuff, and we boarded a flight to America. It was a very long flight. The children were so tired. They were cranky, they couldn't sleep because you know how uncomfortable it is to, sleep in and for that kind of long flight from I think it was Qatar to Dallas, it was crazy. From Nigeria to Qatar was about 6-7 hours, I think. Yeah, they did great. But from Qatar to Dallas, oh, they were already getting tired, and so they were crying, they were cranky, they were tired. You know how children behave when they're tired. I could see that it got to a lot of people. I didn't judge them. I wasn't upset or mad at them because they were irritated at my children, because I felt their pain. They were also tired, and they felt that they could maybe take a nap or sleep in the flight, But my kids were just crying and, disturbing. So I could understand how they felt. We eventually got to Dallas and we boarded another plane from Dallas to Amarillo, where we were supposed to meet my husband. On that flight, the girls couldn't take it no more. They were tired. They screamed off their heads. They were crying and crying non-stop. And then again, I observed that the people were so mad, they were hostile. It was just surprising for me because from where I was coming, people would give you consensus because of your children. You know what I mean? Like, people are very patient with children. They would have understood that, the children are tired. But I could see adults, they were looking angry and hostile. And then again, I wasn't mad. I didn't judge them. I just told myself that, maybe they were also tired. They needed to sleep in the flight. But my kids were crying and disturbing them. So we got to Amarillo Airport. My husband was waiting there for me and my children. We embraced ourselves. We're happy to see each other. And it was time to go get in the car. Brothers and sisters, as soon as the airport door opened, my Father, my Maker, the wind that hits me, I was left dumbfounded. I could not understand what was going on. Is this cold or what? Now, do not forget, I'm coming from a region where we have only two seasons, dry season and raining season. And in the raining season, it gets cold, but just this jacket would do. But the one I experienced when I came, I couldn't explain what I was experiencing. I went into depression immediately. I began to ask myself, why did I come here? Haven't I made a mistake to come here? I'm not even joking. That's how I felt, when I felt the cold. The girls couldn't understand what was happening. Their daddy was holding them and, it was fine. It was fine for the moment, but they were wondering what was happening. And we all boarded the car and went home. I was depressed for months because I couldn't understand the kind of cold that, and even when you cover up, you're wearing a hat, stockings, thicker jackets, and you're still cold. I was like, God, what is the essence of this cold? What is its usefulness? I couldn't understand. For months, I regretted coming to America, and affected my girls as well. They were always crying. It was a mess. They were always crying. And back home, they were not crybabies. There are some children who cry, they like to cry. But my girls were not those kind of kids. But coming to America, they were just crying all the time. And one day, something happened. As if that was not shocking enough. By the way, that was the first shock I was talking about. And the second shocker was I heard a big bang on my door. Open up, police. Like, what have I done for the police to be at my door? My husband was at work. It was just me and the girls. So I opened the door and there was the police. He said someone had called him or called them to report that children were crying from my house. I was surprised. I said, "You came because children are crying?" And he was like, he could see the surprise on my face, and he said, "Yeah, someone called him and said children were crying." At the time, I did not know that these were protective measures that, citizens take, to help and support one another. So he said, "Yeah, someone had called." So I was like, "Okay." I moved aside so he could see my girls. And I said, "They're my kids. They're just crying." And they're like, "Okay." And they left. But I was really surprised that the cops would come to your house because your children were crying. Yeah, the crying was a lot. So now I can understand why, the neighbor, whoever the person was, had to call the cops. Yeah, so that was shocker number 2. Shocker number 3 was, okay, so my husband, so I asked him what, he was doing, at the university. Couldn't he go get a job outside of the school? Because, as a student worker, you were paid peanuts. And yeah, it's that kind of pay is not for a man who has a wife and 2 kids. So the second shocker was that, we were back to the basics. It was hard, for me to adjust. It was hard for me to come to terms with the fact that the guy who I had married back home, that we had, we had a level of comfort. Here in America, we were back to the basics. But yeah, I mean, he's my man and it's our family. I have to do what I have to do. The surprising thing was he also was a little bit uncomfortable with his condition because, I mean, this is an IT guy who has several years of IT experience. He has a bachelor's in computer science. I mean, he's the IT guy, even back at where we work, he was good at what he did. His bosses, liked him. They recognized him for his work. And here he was flipping burgers. It wasn't very funny, but yeah, that was the new life that, we were living. That was where I had found myself, or we had found ourselves. Then something else happened that shocked me. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing that. So thank you for watching again. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button every time you watch a video. It's very important to us as YouTubers. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in my next video. I love you with the love of God, and bye for now.